Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI. And we are coming to you as always from the Meldon Law, not as always, but from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Nation studios. We're here on Thursdays. Of course, we're at Coach Spurrier's restaurant on Mondays, and we'll be back there Monday with him again. Today's guest is non-existent. Unfortunately, we were going to have Allie on to talk some Gator football, but she got caught up in something at school, which certainly we understand. And then, so I got a quick replacement, and it was going to be great. Ross Dellinger from Yahoo, I love him, and a lot's going on with college football, and we'll talk about that coming up. But at the last minute, some news broke. There's a lot going on, and he had to bail on me, and I just went, hey, let's just do it. I'll do it by myself. We'll get Zach to do the yes-nowhere maybe, and I can tell you what I think about. We'll save that for that segment, okay? I'll be the guest. No, you're the guest. No, you're the dummy. No, I'm the dummy. No, you're the dummy. All right, I will say this, and I'm wearing the shirt. I don't know if you can see it. Yep. What's the buzz up here? Wearing the T-shirt from, I went and saw Jesus Christ Superstar last night. And it was awesome. It was everything I hoped it would be. It's my favorite musical of all time, one of my favorite albums of all time. When I was at junior college, I listened to it every day, and I know all the words. So Karen told me I couldn't sing along, but I did lip sing to it all. I was like, "What's up, Buzz? Tell me what's happened." I didn't sing loud enough for anybody to hear, but it's awesome. It is the coolest, and they did a great stage direction. It was at the Phillips Center. It was just wonderful, and if you get a chance to see it somewhere else, or if you get a chance to see it for when it comes back here, if it comes back here, very good, very well done. The singing was, range of voices was incredible. So I am applauding, like polite opera applause. I will say this, I don't clap a lot, because obviously when you're covering Gator sports, you're not doing this in the press box. And even watching a lot of these games at home, I'm just kind of watching them quietly. Like Karen's always like, she goes, I can't believe the way you watch a game, because I watch a game like this. And when stuff happens, I never say a word. I'm processing, always processing. Anyway, I was clapping a lot at Jesus Christ Superstar, as hard as I can clap. It was good. All right. Let us get to our Process Service of Gainesville, starting 5, brought to you by the Process Service of Gainesville. Scott Hart does a great job. Let's start off with the news of the day, which was number 1 on the Process Service of Gainesville, starting 5, which is Todd Golden got an extension today. Let's see. He lost to Vanderbilt in his last game. Okay. But no. Look, you got to go give guys extensions in this case. And I get the fans and how upset they get with some of the stuff, with extensions being given to guys, and then you get sucked, you end up having to pay those salaries. For example, today, Lamont Paris got a 6-year extension. Todd's will take him through 2030, which is great. I think he's going to do a good job here. I think he's already doing a good job here. But every time we get into this situation with coaches and salaries and money and all this, and everybody goes, why do they do that then? Why not just give them a 1-year deal? Well, then the reason Todd Golden's getting this, and the reason that Lamont Paris got his extension, is the reason that they've been very good at what they've done so far, and you're afraid somebody's going to take them away. And there are schools, I'm sorry, that are bigger than Florida and South Carolina in basketball. And one of them is Ohio State. So, think about that. You don't know what's coming open. Okay? That's the thing. You never know what job is going to come open. The Florida job was pretty big at one time. I don't know how big it is right now. You're selling out the arena most days. It's still a pretty big job. But look, if Ohio State hired Todd Golden, I would not have been shocked by that. I think he's shown that he can have success. And you got a young guy coming up, and of course, you go to Ohio State, you're not going anywhere from there unless you go to the NBA. So it's a good move for Florida to make this move, and certainly a good move for South Carolina because Lamont Paris was one of the names I saw on the list. I saw a lot of weird names like Nate Oates. Would he do that? Would he go to? Maybe he would. I don't know that Alabama is that far below Ohio State in basketball. It may be as good as right now what he's done with that program. I've seen a lot of big names on that list of people that could get hired. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, the big news is for us here in Gainesville, Todd Golden extension on his contract through the 2030 season. I can't believe I'm saying 2030. And I'm saying 2030 like it's around the corner, you know? Oh my gosh. I hope I see 2030. That's all I care about. All right, number 2 on the process service of Gainesville starting 5, and that is Kyle Pitts. And his comments yesterday. Well, he weren't even his comments. This was the Kirk Cousins welcoming press conference. Kirk Cousins, of course, signing with the Falcons, says he can retire as a Falcon. He hopes that's his plan. You can definitely see that. But Kyle Pitts is going to he was number 8, and that's what Kyle Cousins' number is. And Kirk Cousins, you get the Kyles messed up. We had Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts here at the same time. It was brutal. But Kirk Cousins. So anyway, Kyle Pitts says, "No, you can have the number 8." And he goes, "Well, I'll pay you for it. How much you want?" He goes, "I want the ball. Just throw me the ball. You target me. You don't pay me 1 cent. I am happy. I don't care about the 8. I just want to play and get the ball in my hands." And I hope that works. It makes me want to be a Falcons fan. And you know me, my fan base shifts every year. I'm always kind of a Chiefs guy because I love Mahomes. But I mean, look, I don't own any Chiefs stuff. I wouldn't buy it. I don't like those colors. But next year I'll probably be a Falcons Chiefs guy. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I should pick a team from the state. Yeah, but anyway, so Kyle Pitts turned down any money as, hey, as long as you throw me the ball. Now, my question is, if you don't throw him the ball and they're 5 games into the season, he goes, I'll take that money now. Probably not. All right, let's get to number 3 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5, and I saved it for late because I did have to talk about Gator baseball. It was not good Tuesday night. Florida was 18-3 under Sully here. And of course, we remember the game they lost 2-0 when it was the day before COVID. Oh gosh. That was a good Pat Dooley story time too. And FSU beat them. Florida was undefeated at the time. Well, FSU's undefeated now. Now they haven't played that many good teams, but they played Florida and they handled Florida's pitching. It's not looking that great for Florida right now. Because now that you're getting ready to start league play, Texas A&M comes in here undefeated as well, and with the best ERA in the country. It's Florida doesn't look very good right now. Does Cags look good? Yeah. Does Colby Shelton look good? Absolutely. Ty Evans is off to a good start, but that's not the problem. Obviously, the pitching is a problem. Caglione is the only guy you can count on. I've talked to a lot of people who still think Liam Peterson's going to be all right. For a freshman, you get some growing pains. Nobody's sure what to think of Cade Fisher, and I don't know what you would do there. And Sully talked about today or I guess it was yesterday, about the possibility of just flipping him around the order. Maybe he starts Cags Friday night, but I know he doesn't want to start Cags on Friday night, and the reason is because you pitch the first game and you're playing, and then you're tired on Sunday. But if you can save your energy for Sunday, that's the theory behind it. And the other theory is, hey, if we split the first 2, we got Cags on Sunday, we can win the series, and it's all about winning series. I get that. So we'll see if he changes it up at all. I feel like Cade Fisher needs to go to the bullpen. He was really good out of the bullpen in long relief last year. and that's what I would put him back there. Obviously, the Friday night starter is not. It's just not working. But I don't know where else you go, because when you look at this team and you look in the bullpen, you look at all the other guys that are pitching, you look at the freshmen, you look at the older guys, none of them are pitching well. The only one that's pitching well is Caglione. My guy was Alex Philpott. I said, man, start him against this. I tell you what you got to do. You got to start him against FSU. Getting into Jeff's ear to get into Sully's ear. That's the guy, man. Walked 4 and 2 and no, inning and a third. I think I was inning 2/3. I'm like, okay, maybe not him. They got a lot of problems. I think they have 76 walks right now. That's not good. That's after 16 games, 10-6. So we'll see. Sully usually figures things out. Maybe it's not fixable. We'll see, because there have been years when it wasn't fixable, and they weren't very good, and they still got in the NCAA tournament, but they weren't in there very long. So I'm not panicking. I'm just saying the early look is not a great one. It doesn't feel like a great team. Everybody was so high when they beat Miami 2 out of 3. You still want to do that. Now you got to win the last 2 to beat FSU 2 out of 3. All right, let's get to number 4 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5, and that is the Players Championship, which is this week. I've talked to a bunch of people who are going over there. Somebody asked me if I was going to go, and look, I'm trying not to be this old guy yelling at the clouds and like, I'm not going. In my day, they piped it in. We listened to it on the phonograph. I'm not going to be that guy. And my wife got me to go to a play, and we're trying to do more things, but walking around the golf course is only fun when you're playing. I have been there many times. I have covered probably 15 or 20 Players Championships, and I love it. But you know what? It's a big weekend, man. It's a big weekend for college basketball. I hope Florida's around for it. If they are, great. I'm not going to be at the Players, but the 2 TV system again coming in. They're both sitting there warmed up and ready to go, so you can have the Players on one and basketball on the other. And if the Players gets boring, you flip it over to something else. Big Ten championship or whatever. So I'm looking forward to it. Scheffler won last week, so I would pick him as the favorite probably. We'll see what Rory can do. By the time some of you are listening, you already know who's in the first round lead. It'll be fun to watch. So I think a lot of it is when I talk about all the time, and I know gets old. Have I got to play Augusta in 1996? I'll probably never get to play again. And it made the course come alive for me so much more. But the Players, I probably played 30 times. I mean, back in my day, they let you play golf for free. You didn't have to pay anything. So no, that was in the media, obviously in Jacksonville, and they treated us really nice. And you could go out there pretty much. I mean, you had to situate yourself, and there would be media days, usually 1 or 2 a year. In fact, I played the media day with Jeff a couple years ago from here. So they let us go over there. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I don't have a winner. I know Billy Horschel's not going to win. He never plays well there. I know. It's hard to pick the guy who won last week, because I always think, even though they have momentum, they've got distractions. But it was Scotty Scheffler. He doesn't get distractions. All right, I'll go with Scotty Scheffler. How about that? Number 1 player in the world who won last week. Out on a limb. I'm way out there on the limb. You can barely see the ground. I'm so far out on the limb. Okay. All right. Finally, number 5 on process service of Gainesville starting 5. I did watch, as I had on a couple of games. I was watching the SEC basketball tournament, and on my other TV, I said, I'm flipping around. I go, I know there's another tournament, and I found the Kansas game. Kansas was playing Cincinnati, which I'm like, whoa! I forgot that they're in that conference now. That's how weird it was. And I'm watching the game, and Cincinnati's a better team, and they beat Kansas, and Kansas is already out of that tournament. And I can tell you that I like Kansas fans. being around them in Omaha that one year, because they were in the same pod as Florida, even though they didn't play Florida, or they weren't in the bracket of Florida. They were in the same pod. And I always I said, Kansas fans are Kentucky fans, but they're younger and drunker. It's not the blue hairs. It's people that are having, made some money and they're having a great time. And they I'm sure where is is it in Indianapolis? The Big 12, no, the Big 12. I don't know where it is. Anyway, wherever it is, I'm sure they're disappointed in all the bars and restaurants, because that knocked off a big chunk of their crowd. But the bigger issue is what is going on in Kansas, because you watch them play and you go, wait a minute, why are they not better than this? They've lost so many games? They've lost home games. They just and again, everybody's entitled to a down year, right? And this year maybe for Bill Self. And again, I'm not a Bill Self fan. You get away from it. Let's see, he's cheated really badly, and let's give him a lifetime contract. He's the Will Wade of the Big 12. Although they can give him a lifetime contract, although he's going to come up in a minute. So that's going to do it for our process service of Gainesville starting five. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the things that are going on in college football right now. I am the guest today. And then Zach will play Yes, Nowhere, maybe with us. We'll be right back with more on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. I am Pat Dooley, and I am the guest today because, and again, we've never struck out on guests. The only guest we ever struck out on was the one day that Spurrier forgot to come. And remember, we were all worried about him, that something happened to him. That was it. But today, we had double strikeouts, and I didn't want to take call strike 3, so I figured we could just do this. We could talk about things, and look, we've been good about this, and that's all I'm going to say about it. All right, so I did want to talk about what is. I was going to talk to Ross Dellinger about, and that is that it feels like they're about to do this thing with the 14-team playoff. Today, the ACC and the Big 12 voted to accept it. Now, obviously, the two that matter are the ones, once they accept it, it's accepted, and that's the SEC and the Big 10. But now we could get to a 14-team playoff when just a few years ago we were a 2-team playoff, and that took doing. That took hammering and yelling and screaming and shaking your fist at the clouds and everything until you got a 2-team playoff. Now we're going to be up to 14, which is great. I love it. It means more football. It means more teams get in. Means more inclusion, which is what I know that the group of 5 teams were worried about. I want to see the final plan before I really comment on it, though, because I know that the SEC and Big Ten are going to be guaranteed a certain amount of spots in there. I have a problem with it. And here is my problem with it. What if the third team in the SEC isn't that good? What if they're an 8-4 or 8-4 Texas, and Alabama and Georgia have dominated. Texas and Georgia have dominated, and Alabama's that team at 8-4. And that's the third best team. And you're like, okay, well, they did play a tough schedule because they played in the SEC, and that's the toughest place to play and everything. I get that. But there's a team here that's 11-1, but they're in a lesser conference. But I've watched them play, and eye test tells me they're better. And my feeling is that team should get in. Hopefully, they got it. If they get it to 14, it'll still get enough people in. I know that the SEC fan bases out there are likely thinking to themselves, guys, we'll probably get 6 in, man. Just be ready for it. But my guess would be that they would get 4 in most years. I mean, they're guaranteed to get 3. So I'm just adding 1 more. And if if they're all beating each other and cannibalizing each other, but they're only doing that at the top, there's a difference between cannibalization of a conference throughout it and just at the top. If it's just at the top, and let's say Alabama's beaten Georgia but lost to Texas and beaten Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's beat this team, and Georgia beat them. You know what I'm saying? If that's what it is, okay, you can still be all right with that. But my fear is that we're not going to get the best teams. We're going to leave the best teams out because I still want to see the plan, but we're going to leave the best teams out to kowtow to the conference that we love and the other conference up there. So, hey, it's probably going to get tweaked. It's probably going to get changed. It's probably going to get expanded again. Believe me, I wouldn't be doubt it one bit. But we'll see what happens there. I did also want to talk about Nick Saban in Washington. I watched a lot of what he had to say up there. It did feel a little hypocritical. These kids, all they want is money. Well, of course, I'm getting all the money, but I thought he was pretty good, and maybe that'll make somebody's. It was what was it called? A Senate, roundtable. Yeah, Senate roundtable. And so I don't know. I don't think I don't even know why they bother. We can handle this. We'll get it solved eventually. It'll all work itself out. Congress doesn't need to get in the middle of this thing and all of a sudden make it something that it's not. It's already what it isn't. That's already happened. But the NCAA's got to just step in and figure this thing out and do it the right way. I have answers. They don't want to hear them. But I do also understand why they don't want to hear them, because many of my answers would be litigated and probably lose in court. So what are you going to do? And so we'll see. We'll see where that goes, and whether we end up getting a commissioner that everybody keeps talking about. Everybody says, "Well, Saban would be perfect." No, he wouldn't be. Saban wouldn't be good for that. What's going to happen the first time he rules against LSU? Oh, I'm sorry, that player will be suspended. Oh, now because it's Saban, because it's an Alabama guy. Now you need to bring in like a Mike Slive type or a Greg Sankey type, somebody who's been around leagues, but he's willing to judge everybody with an even hand. Now you're not going to bring in Greg Sankey because he would vote for the SEC most times, but somebody like that. That's what I think. But I don't know. Well, there's no movement to get a commissioner as far as I can tell. All right. It is time for us to play Yes, No Way, or Maybe. And of course, Yes, No Way, or Maybe is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. And I am coming to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line. And of course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. And since nobody wants to come on today, maybe they know I'm sick. I got sinus problems. Zach's going to do it with us today. How about that, Zach? You excited about it?
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, like you say, everyone's bailing on us, and someone's got to step into the plate. And why not? People might get walloped up. I don't know.
Yeah, you may get fan mail from some flounder.
Right.
All right, number one on yes, no way, or maybe was Zach Rothrock. I think that's why you get to play, Zach, is because you've got a namesake on the team now,
There it
on
is.
the softball team. All right, the college football will expand again. The college football playoffs will expand again in your lifetime.
Oh, well, I mean, if I live as long as the average human is expected to live, which would be about, I guess, 40 or 50 more years. Oh, almost definitely. Yeah, I mean, once the ball gets rolling down the hill, it doesn't stop rolling. It's just going to keep going. And when they can add more games and add more revenue and this and that, I mean, yeah, yes, it will definitely happen.
Yeah, it's like a snowball rolling downhill, and it's just gonna. I agree with you. Now, I had this question ready for me, and the answer was, well, maybe not because I could be dead tomorrow.
Right.
Let's get to number two on yes, no way, or maybe. And okay, Will Wade is a coach at McNeese. Will Wade was a coach at LSU. He got fired there for cheating. We all know that story. And he cheated really bad. He is a coach at McNeese. They qualified for the NCAA tournament. So, Zach, I got to ask you, yes, no way, or maybe LSU fans are rooting against McNeese State in the tournament.
Ooh, yeah, it's tough to gauge. Well, I'm gonna say, yeah, they're rooting against him because I don't know, he tarnished their program and they're college sports fans and they like to hold grudges and they do things that don't necessarily coincide with logic. So I'm gonna say probably yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of them will. I will be. I don't like the guy at all, but it's interesting that he was suspended for the first 10 games of this year. Because of the NCAA violations, and I'm like, why 10 games? Well, who comes up with these things? I don't know. I will be rooting hard against McNeese, I'll tell you that. All right, finally on yes, no way, or maybe with Zach Rothrock. Number three, you celebrate St. Patrick's Day, which is coming right around the corner.
I'll tell you what, when I was at the University of South Carolina, I celebrated St. Patrick's Day extremely, extremely hard. That was about, good God, I graduated 10 years ago. I didn't even really think about that. I don't know, I've kind of been in a different life now, in a different space. Probably won't celebrate it as much, but yeah, going down to 5 points when I was at Columbia, South Carolina,
Oh, yeah.
everything was green. The vomit was green. I did definitely do it back in those days.
Yeah, I think everybody did. I remember going out to the NCAA tournament in, what would that have been? 2009, I think. No, 10. And it was on St. Patrick's Day. And a lot of times when we would be going to it, it would be St. Patrick's Day. So I'd always pack something green. But then I got to a point where, hey, look, I'm Irish every day. I don't need to celebrate one day. And so I showed up in Oklahoma City, and the guy was like, "Where's your green?" He goes, "Oh, let me give you a green T-shirt." So he gave me a green T-shirt. So I wandered around with that thing on. I think I took it off when I got home and threw it away. But it wasn't attractive. But yeah, I'm not a big St. Patrick's guy. My name's Patrick. I'm Irish, yes, every day, and I don't have it that one day. So I don't go all in on it. But anyway, all right. That is going to do it for yes, no way, or maybe. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll do all our fun stuff, Hesser and Kipke and all that stuff coming up here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studio.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave me the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out. quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it. Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. And yes, I'm very casual today. Because I was trying to track down guests, didn't have time to get straightened up, cleaned up. But we just sorry we struck out on guests, but it won't happen again. I can promise you that. Let us get to our fun stuff here on the show. We always like doing this in the third segment, and we'll start off with our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Of course, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of family law and workers' compensation. If you're a loyal listener to the show, you already know who we are by now. If not, Google the firm, check out the reviews, and hear what our clients have to say. Ken and Jennifer can be reached 24/7 via cell or text at 352-339-9920. That's 339-9920. Hesser and Kipke. We appreciate them so much for being such a big part of this. Let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And number one, big story, a surprising story, because we talk about all the time the Will Muschamp. I know he didn't invent it, but he's the first guy I heard say it, that you're loyal to your paycheck. And you want all your players and coaches and everybody to be loyal, right? But really, nobody's loyal. Nobody's loyal anymore, especially with what's going on. Well, here we had a new one. Trev Albert steps down as the AD at Nebraska, where he played, where he was an All-American, and now he's going to Texas A&M, which is a better job, no doubt about it. It's a much better job, better sports there. Now, if you want to be a women's basketball or gymnastics coach, it's good there. Somebody calling me. I wasn't a guest. But that's all I'm saying. I don't disagree with making that move. And he the fact that Nebraska hired him, we thought was kind of surprising. I think he'd been at some small school up there. But as soon as he got a chance to go, he went. Loyalty. There is no loyalty anymore in anything, okay? The only people who are loyal are the people who have been around so long they don't have the energy to leave. That's it. Nobody's loyal. Well, it's like Kirk Ferentz is loyal to Iowa, and he's turned down other job offers, so he's loyal to Iowa, and I'll give him that. He may be the only guy I know. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is Florida's net ranking, which I thought I would look up. Just I was curious and see if there was anything there, and it went up. And I'm like, man, Florida just needs not to play. If they don't play any, they could be number 4 or 5. It goes up. Now they're up to 33, and that's good for them. But look, the bottom line is, and by the time many of you are listening to this, Florida will have either won or lost on Friday night. I know that, but I hope they won, because they need to get. I know that would be beating Mike White 3 times, which is hard to do. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. We all know that. Let's see what happens. But if they lose that game, they're going to be stuck like a 10 seed or somewhere. Right now, they're still a 7 in both Jerry Palm and Leonardo both have them as a 7. So I'm checking out my glasses here again because I can't read. Oh. Okay. What does that mean? That's exactly what I just said. Rooting for the underdog. I don't know. Okay, number 3 is we're rooting for the underdog. That's what I wrote down. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Hey, this has been a weird show today, right? I understand. What rooting for the underdog? I don't know. I think it was supposed to say laundry, and I already talked about rooting for laundry. So we're rooting for laundry. We all know that. You're rooting for laundry, I am. If you don't know where the joke comes from, it's a Jerry Seinfeld joke. And he said, "Look, you're just all rooting for laundry." And I had to think about it. He's right. We're rooting for the orange and blue here. They're rooting for the red and black up in Athens. So at any rate, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. This is not a show to put up for the Emmy Awards. I can tell you that. I'm not doing a very good job today. I know I'm a little under the weather, but come on, fight through it. Let's go. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. We pulled a winner last week. Scott sent me his information, and I am going to mail that to him tomorrow. He will be getting a $25 gift certificate at Leonardo's and a copy of Patrick Young's book. Including Patrick Young signed it too. Rise to Sit, I believe it's called. And so I'll be sending that to him. The qualifiers here are going to have another chance to win a copy of that book. And I still got a bunch of copies of my book, so I'm going to keep going this contest going so we can give some nice stuff away. Your goal is very simple for this one, guys. And ladies, just give me the SEC champion. Now, some of you are going to say, I'm going to wait till Sunday. No, you have to have it in by Saturday, start of play. You'll know already who the semifinal and final teams are. You have to have it in by then. I'll give it till then. Because I know a lot of people listen like on Friday night so I want to give everybody a chance, but you have to, I think it starts at 1 on Saturday. So by Saturday at 1, you got to have it in. If you don't have it in, I disqualify it. And I have disqualified a couple of people who tried to sneak it in on me. So that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Kyle Cohen and the boys over there. Can't wait to see him soon. Adam's Ribco to go. Gator of the week. Speaking of a great guy, that is Adam Brewer, man. He is the best. And they have the best ribs there are. Whew, man, I love those ribs. And the great thing is we get to give a Gator of the Week award out twice a week. We give a Gator of the Week and a Gator of the Weekend. This week it wasn't too hard because really there wasn't a whole lot going on, and certainly baseball did not give me anything to vote for. So I went with Katie Kistler, who had a really, she's kind of forgotten in that lineup. They've got a great lineup now, and but she's a big part of it. 5 RBI in the win over Stetson on Wednesday. That was, yeah, kind of hard to get the days all straight. So Florida now 22-4 coming up on the weekend. So we'll give you those weekend games in just a second, but they're playing really good softball. It's been fun to watch. I've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to getting out there to the park, but Katie Kistler deserves to be Adam's Ribco to go Gator of the Week because that was her career high in RBI, 5. I don't think I ever had 5 in a game. I think I had 2 in a game once. All right, congratulations to Katie, and thank you to Adam's Ribco to go, another sponsor of the Bob Dooley, and they will be out there serving lunch. Can't wait to see them. All right, let's get to our Swamp Games of the weekend, and it is brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, another sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational, and they have agreed. I talked to Ryan out there yesterday, and they've agreed to be the margarita sponsor for the tournament. They'll be on the second hole serving up margaritas. Hey, margaritas. And it'll be a good time out there. We appreciate them. And, of course, you go there to watch games, and there are so many games on basketball-wise. They're everywhere. The Florida game is at 9:30 tonight at best. It's on at 9:30 again tomorrow at best. And it's a shame that they have to do that. I don't know why they have to do it, but they do it. Then you shift over to the 1 and 3 games, and I think the finals at 1 on Sunday. But look, I hope Florida's in it. I don't see any way Florida. Now they've beaten every team they have to play, right? They've beaten Alabama, They've beaten Tennessee or Kentucky once, and they should have almost beat them the second time. So until they got to the final, they wouldn't have to play anybody they hadn't already beaten because they're playing Georgia tonight. So who knows? I just wanted to play well. I need to get another win. And get this one against Georgia. I know it's tough to win 3 in a row. I know, but I'm just telling you, go get it done. Whatever happens tomorrow, you're playing with house money, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But let's get to those games of the week, and of course, baseball. This is the bad news. Is baseball. Of course, they're playing A&M. We're going to go Saturday night. It's Karen's birthday party celebration, kind of, and because her birthday is Tuesday. So baseball plays at 6:30 on Friday, 6:30 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. They're all only on the Plus. So unless you have ESPN Plus, I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying unless you have it, you're going to have to be out there. And I think the place will be packed. It usually is for a beautiful weekend. Hopefully we don't get any of this rain that may come Saturday, but we'll see what happens. So you got that going on baseball-wise. Gymnastics quad meet coming up in the they do have number 18 NC State in this one, so that'll be interesting. That is, I think, also on the Plus. That's at 6:45, which all means 7. 6:45 to get you in there. They want everybody settled before the ladies start tumbling. So that'll be a quad meet, and luckily they do quad meets a lot better than they used to. So that'll be fun, and that'll be it for the Gators at home. Then they go to the SECs and they go to the regionals and everything. So make sure this is probably your last chance to see them. Well, some of you will travel. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, we've got this. Again, I got to put on my glasses to read my writing. It's just pathetic. But yeah, and so yeah, here it is. Softball has Mercer on Friday at 6:00, and then Indiana Saturday and Sunday. Those games are early. In fact, I think it's an 11:00 game on Sunday, and those games are on the Plus. The 2 against Indiana, and of course the Players Championship. I'll be watching a lot of this. It's on, if you're looking for it, Saturday 2 to 7, Sunday 2 to 6. Of course, they'll go to the conclusion, and that is on NBC. If you want to watch it during the week, today and Friday, it's on Peacock and Golf Channel. So there is all your TV. Let us wrap it up with this, that, and the other. It's brought to you by our good friends at Shakow Insurance, by Bill Reichert over there at Ballyhoo. I just saw him last night. We had a great discussion, and he had seen Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely, who is the guy in the movie in the play. That's very impressive. Although the guy last night was great, and it wasn't Ted Neely didn't hurt it for me. It would have helped it for me though if it was, because he was great. Now Ted Neely today may not be able to sing. I don't even know if he's alive. But it is brought to you by Ballyhoo. We had a long discussion about it. And of course, always brought to you by Ironwood Golf Course, where the Bob Dooley will be played in just 2 months, a little less than 2 months. This is that for the golf tournament, for the Bob Dooley Invitational. One of the things we got that my brother was able to get from somebody was a Calvin Ridley signed Jaguars ball, which was really cool. It's really nice signature. The ball's really nice. Put it in the silent auction, man. We were excited about it. That was this. That was people all of a sudden started saying, hey, they're probably going to trade Ridley. I'm like, what? We got a ball from him. Don't trade him. Keep him there for 1 more year. Then you can trade him after that. And I mean, I don't know. He was okay for them this year, but I think they wanted to get rid of him, and he cost a lot of money. And then the other is he was traded. So what do we do with that ball? He was traded to the Titans, and now we have this ball. So I think it goes from silent auction maybe over to raffle. Just move that right over there. Those raffle tickets aren't expensive. So if somebody got a Calvin Ridley signed Jaguar ball, they'll probably go, oh, this is cool. Hey, wait, doesn't he play for the Titans? Anyway, that's going to do it. Zach put up with it, even had to contribute today. Sorry about that. We'll be back with a great show Monday, I promise you. And I can't wait to do our Tuesday special show where we look at the SEC in the NCAA field. We'll talk about Florida, of course. We'll have Matt McCall on and Mark Wise. And we will have them on because look, this is the only time we haven't had somebody on. You got to give us credit for that. We'll be back with that on Monday with the coach Spurrier. We look forward to hearing about his Hall of Fame appearance. And it was a character. What was it? The award he won for character? Citizen of the Year. Citizen's Arrest. He was like citizen, great distinguished citizen, something like that. Yeah, the Walter Camp. That's pretty cool. He's a pretty good guy. And he's been very good to me. That's all I know. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks to Zach for doing a great job as always today. We'll be back with you Monday from Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.